Welcome to the Franklin and Allum show. I am your host, Ben. This week, we are doing top sporting moments. Joining me as ever are David. Say hello, David.
Hello, David.
Hello. And Kev. Bear in mind for our Spotify audio listeners, use your words, Kev.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, top 3 sporting moments. I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this. Bit of housekeeping. How you been?
There's a fire alarm. Do we know our nearest exits?
Fire alarm today. Yeah, I'm good.
Tell me where the toilets are. We good?
I had the COVID vaccine.
Did you?
I came out in some fucking weird rash.
Did you?
I had to have a shave. I had to cut my hair. I was going nuts.
Really?
It's all right now though.
Maybe if you or did they perhaps not upgrade the microchip?
Yeah.
Still running. Maybe it's a pre-Windows 10 microchip you got in your.
Yeah,
Mac.
I've got the Windows.
That's why
the Windows logo on my arm now.
That's why your Mac fucks up as well, probably.
Yeah, it sensed me.
Yeah. What are you drinking there, Kevin? Was that a Heineken?
A Heine.
Nice Heine. All right, should we get into it?
Go on then.
Top 3 sporting moments.
So fairly obvious this one for me. 2005 Champions League final, Liverpool versus AC Milan.
Mm-hmm.
Just the improbability of them getting to the final, the beating Juventus, the ghost goal at Chelsea, and then just how good AC Milan were then.
Yep.
That
it was a really good
AC Milan team, unbelievable. I can't remember. I was trying to Google just before we came on how many goals Milan had conceded in the whole tournament up to that point, and it was single figures, I think.
Wow.
To go 1-0 down within the first 3 minutes was a bit of a hammer blow. But the manner in which they went 3-0 down in that first half, it looked like it was going to be hugely embarrassing. And that changed in the second half in the space of 6 minutes. So a 6-minute spell in the second half, and Liverpool were back in the game, 3-0, but then just had to defend for the next, 45, 50 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And just all the kind of improbable things that happened. Jersey Dudek save, just it shouldn't have happened. It's just a ridiculous. You know, I went through such a range of emotions that night, got incredibly drunk, screamed myself hoarse. Yeah, I think I could see Liverpool win many other trophies in my lifetime. Hopefully, nothing will match the excitement, improbability, and emotion of that game.
No, it was almost the perfect game of football to watch. It had absolutely everything. Yeah, it's a good one.
From the emotion, it's got an emotional resonance for me as well as it being a great sporting moment.
It was a good sporting moment. It was. Do you think it gets overshadowed by the 99?
I was just about to say that.
Yeah, because I remember the 99 one more than 2005.
99's a bigger achievement, isn't it? It's.
I guess, yeah. Well,
because
yeah.
it wasn't. They weren't just winning that game; they were winning the treble.
Yeah.
With that win, so it was. It's more on the line, I guess. In terms of improbable comebacks, I think the Liverpool one is more improbable because they were further behind. I mean,
It's crazy.
To score 2 goals in the last minute and injury time is ridiculous. But it wasn't the first time United had done that.
See, I mean,
yeah, true.
I mean, that's a phenomenal. It's a phenomenal game, and like I said, it had everything. But I think the Nou Camp win was a bigger achievement.
I think the difference between the two is
nobody saw that. Nobody saw that coming.
The excitement of. Well, I disagree. If United score a late goal, you'd put money on them.
No, I'm saying when Liverpool beat Barca. Yeah. Liverpool beat Barca like 4-0.
That was. So I thought you meant
crazy.
That was ridiculous. But that Milan side in 2005 was a better side than that Barca side a couple of years ago.
Yeah, the wheels were starting to come off that Barca team then, weren't they?
Yeah.
Good one. Very good.
It is good choice.
What about you, Davey?
Okay, I've gone 1985. I've gone for the Black Ball final.
Ooh.
Because I remember I was allowed to stay up to watch it because it went on forever, it seemed at the time. But I don't think you appreciate it now. But what it did, snooker was on a high already. There was some big names coming through from the late 70s and that early 80s period. But that final boosted snooker straight into. It was a big sport till like the mid to late 90s. It was huge because of that final. And what a final. Unbelievable. Steve Davis should have smashed it. It was like 8-0 up, I think.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, Dennis Taylor comes back. He goes ahead again. Dennis Taylor comes back. And it gets to 17-all final frame. And I watched it the other day, the final frame. I watched it for this. And you forget. So it gets to the last 4 balls. So he has to pot a really difficult brown up the side, cut the blue in, pot the pink, and then he tries to double the black, and you're like, oh wow, boop, boop. And it looks like it's going in. And then for 15 minutes or so, the black won't go in, and it's just all over the place. And you can see they're physically drained. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning or something. I think it's about half midnight maybe. And then he gets a nice shot into the corner pocket, and the rest is history, isn't it? The famous little wag of the finger. Again, a bit like you, it was my granddad loved snooker, so I got into snooker. I was allowed to stay up and watch that, so I've got those personal memories of that, and just an epic sporting moment.
That's really, the other thing about
really
that
good.
as well, is how late it finished, and it still had, I don't know, like 10 million viewers on TV or something.
Yeah.
Like that late. Huge viewing figures that late.
I've got a funny thing. I'm going to look it up. Should we have a look quickly? And then snooker just went nuts after that. Have a look. 18.5 million people watched it.
Same, isn't it?
1985.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's my choice. The 85 Black Ball final.
There's something about the aesthetic of the
thinking though, like
80s as well. Players with a fag and a not sponsors.
Accessible, weren't they? They just looked like ordinary people with a phenomenal talent. Right?
Yeah. For me, snooker is we can all have a game of pool, but if you've ever tried to play snooker properly, it's insanely hard, and it's ridiculous how good they are. Just trying to break off and you get the ball back up.
Dave, imagine how difficult it is for someone my height.
Right, I'm going to take you back to August 2012, 4th of August 2012. Mo Farah, 10,000 meters. I think because there was just, I think probably for the first time since Euro 96, it felt like it hadn't, like, you know, all of the World Cups and the Euros and all that sort of stuff are always a unifying thing, but the Olympics felt like it was a shared experience across the whole country.
Yeah.
And you know, and I'm not mad into athletics or anything, but I just remember my daughter was a month old, and I just remember holding her, watching it, and just going, "Go on, Mo, go on, Mo, go on, Mo," for about half an hour, and just being so invested in it. And I just think he kind of symbolized what it felt like, that there was a changing tide in an attitude in Britain in that time, maybe, and the fact that he was a Muslim immigrant who everybody got behind, and
Mhm.
it didn't seem to be something that was necessary to kind of talk about, to mention. You know, he just seemed to be just this incredibly charming, devoted athlete at the peak of his prowess. And he was just the face of that Olympics. And Bolt, of course, who was just badass, wasn't he? But yeah, Mo Farah, 2012.
Yeah, I had Super Saturday as an honourable mention. You had Greg Rutherford,
Mm-hmm.
whose name I've forgotten. I just had to look it up. Jess Ennis as well, 1 goal that day, and it just seemed you kind of watch that games was unbelievable, because we do all right at all the sports where you have to sit down. At every Olympic, like rowing, cycling, we're always good at them, but it just felt like that games we were just medal after medal every day, and that Saturday was the kind of the big ones. Like Greg Rutherford was not considered a favourite for that competition at all. Won a gold. Jessica Ennis won a gold when she was the poster girl for that games. She was the face of the games. The amount of pressure on her because she was she was expected to win. The amount of pressure, but she dealt with that brilliantly. And then Mo, obviously, there was a real buzz about everything in that game.
It was amazing. Yeah, it was a brilliant Olympics, and it was just done with such kind of wit as well. That opening ceremony was done with such
the whole thing,
such style, right?
It's really good. Reports coming through as well. You know, so a lot of people aren't going to experience, isn't it, ever again?
Yeah,
maybe.
So we were at Adams that day, Dave. We'd had a band practice in the afternoon, and we were about to leave, but we got kind of saying bye. We kind of got drawn to the TV, and we just sort of sat down, like coats half on.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know.
Yeah, good one. Really good.
Yeah.
So voting time. I'm going to go for Mo. Just because I had Super Saturday as one of my honourable mentions.
Yeah, I think I'll go Mo.
I'm in. Mo in. Round two.
Lovely.
Okay. Unusual on this one. I was torn between 2 for my second choice, but I think I've got a sneaky feeling Ben's going to choose one of these, so I'm going to go the other one. Oh God, I can't remember the year. It's a couple of years ago, but it is the Brownlee brothers, British triathletes. They're competing in the World Championship. So the World Championship Triathlon is a series of events and you accumulate points. This was, I believe, the final race of the season. Johnny Brownlee, the youngest one, is in the lead. And it's on the run. It's on the 10K run at the end. He's got 700 meters to go, basically the home straight. He's winning. His older brother's in second place. And he just loses dehydration, tiredness, whatever. He just starts veering all over the track and he just stops and he can't walk. And he's about to, like that. And his brother comes up behind him, 700 yards to go, 700 meters to go, stops, props him up and walks in. Guy in third place overtakes and wins. And Alistair walks Johnny to the finish line and then pushes him over ahead of him to finish second. Not only is that kind of just beautifully touching, it's an older brother looking after his younger brother, but Alistair was winning the World Championship. If he'd have finished in second place, it would have given him enough points to win the World Championship. But because he finished third, he lost it to the guy that overtook them. So he kind of left his...
I need a moment.
But, dropped his chance at becoming world champion because his brother was struggling on the home straight.
I think it's a sport. I think it's a sporting thing as much as anything than that, right? Just that it's morally, it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, and you see, like he's kind of by the edge of the thing, and the medics are coming and everything like that, and somebody comes out to help him, but he kind of pushes them away. No, I'll walk him across the finish line. It's not like that's the only place there's medical staff. It's a big event, but he wants his brother to finish where he should have finished ahead of him. Right. So it's not just him looking after his brother in a moral, make sure he's okay, but it's a no, you've come this far, you should finish ahead of me. It's
and
if you watch the
iconic moment, isn't it?
It's very iconic, actually. Yeah.
There's something in my eye.
Yeah, very good. I've gone for Leicester City winning the Premier League.
Oh,
just because it was pretty
fantastic,
really, wasn't it? It was unreal.
Pretty big moment. I mean, it's a long moment, isn't it? 9 months.
Yeah, but it started off as a little bit of a joke, didn't it? Because I think it came out eventually, didn't it? That they started playing well, and then it came out that people had bet on them because of the season before they were lucky to avoid relegation.
Yeah.
And then, they figured out a style of play. They managed to just tear everyone up. It was incredible to watch. And from being a Saints fan, it was nice to see not one of the top six, as it's called now.
I think, I think any fan, unless you're,
I guess, arguably.
Any fan, it was great to see them.
And I don't think it was particularly that other teams played badly. I just don't think anyone knew how to handle them. They just.
It was unknown, right? Mahrez was playing out of his skin. Conte was just a beast, and Vardy was just like throwback centre forward, a throwback. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just constantly zipping around
with pace.
Yeah. just like a wasp, like an angry wasp, wasn't he? Like no steptoe, like.
Yeah. And as soon as they figured that out, they could do that ball and he could run and he would outpace anyone. They were unstoppable, weren't they?
Unstoppable. Was it the goal against Liverpool?
Yeah, that was a good goal.
Great goal, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Great goal.
Seriously good. And you compare it to Blackburn when Blackburn did it, but I think Black slightly different because they were pushing the top
Yeah,
of the
they
table,
bought it, right?
and they had some Tim Flowers, Sutton.
Sherwood, Batty.
They spent a lot
paid
of
a lot of
money.
money. I think
Ripley, Shearer,
Tim Flowers, the
Sutton.
highest paid purchased keeper at that point. So there's a difference there.
He was a good player, wasn't he, Flower?
And plus,
that Leicester squad was put together on comparatively next to nothing.
Well, a lot of those had been in the championship as well, weren't they?
Yeah.
Been in the championship.
Blackburn, when Blackburn came up to the Premier League, they came up with the express desire to win. So
Jack Walker's millions, wasn't it?
Shearer was a British record signing for Blackburn, as was Sutton. Sutton was either Sutton broke the British transfer record and then
Shearer broke it,
or the other way around.
I think it might have been the other way. Can't remember.
But so they broke transfer records to get that squad together. Leicester, I don't think Leicester broke their own transfer record, did they?
And the season before, they were already those couple of seasons Blackburn were already kind of pushing that way as well.
Right.
It wasn't. This was a complete out of the blue. This was a side that had battled relegation and then just come out. And then it was iconic. 5,000 to 1 or whatever it was. People got, and Lineker presented match of the day in his boxers, and it was cool, wasn't it? It was different. It was great. So
there's nothing not to like about that, is there?
No, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And the thing is, I think the difference, another big difference between Leicester and Blackburn is, you look what happened to Blackburn after that. Like within the space of a couple of years, relegated, sunk like a stone. You look at Leicester now; they're a consistently top 10 side.
Yeah, they pushed on, even though they lost a couple of their top players.
Challenging to get in Europe each year. They kind of established themselves off that foot. And it's not like they won the league and then with that money they went and bought a load of superstars and that's why they're where they are. They're still kind of tightly run club. They don't seem to. I mean, people might correct me.
They bring players through as well, which I really like. They tend to like Chowdhury and Chilwell and Barnes. They got they buy young players as well. Demarai Gray didn't quite come on as well as everyone thought he was going to. But Maddison was a good signing.
Took a punt on Bardi as well, didn't they?
Yeah, good one.
Paid off. Yeah, that's my choice. Leicester.
Good one. 30th of October, 1974, Zaire. Ali versus Foreman. It's 32 years old against just the most ferocious, heavy-hitting puncher in 50 years. He was given absolutely no chance, and he just found a way of unlocking it. He just found a way to beat him, and he played it absolutely perfectly. All of the hype, all of the way up into the fight. I'm going to dance around him. George ain't going to see me. George isn't going to see me. I'm just going to keep dancing. I'll be picking and a poking. And Foreman based his whole training regime on sparring fighters like Ali. And when it came to it, Ali was on the ropes, the rope-a-dope. He was just pulling back, allowing him to tie himself out. And 8th round, he just picks his punches, makes his move. Foreman goes down, and he shakes the world again. He shakes up the world again.
There's another point to that tactic as well, Ben, is that it's not just the kind of the fooling him in terms of his strategy. One part of his strategy was Foreman had destroyed everybody. Nobody ever threw a right hand lead at Foreman because it's suicide.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You throw a right hand lead, you're disrespecting the other fighter. It's really open to a counter attack really quickly, and if you counter attack, hit as hard as Foreman does. So nobody had ever thrown it against him, and it was the one punch that Foreman never expected.
Mm-hmm.
Riley went like that, and right hand lead, because it's the one thing, it's the two things that Foreman never. It's a tactical masterclass, that fight.
But the thing I love about it is it's like 10 years. It was 10 years since he did it last time. Like he shocked the world when he beat Liston.
He had 3 years off in that 10 years as well.
Mm-hmm. Right.
He lost his prime years. And there's so much, and it's not like today where fighters don't really hit their form until they're 33. You know, fighters fight on until 37, 38. That's kind of the norm now. 30 was over the hill in boxing in the 60s and 70s. So for a 33-year-old to go in against 32, to go in against him, when Foreman had completely destroyed the people that had beaten Ali as well, completely.
Right, he knocked Frazier down like 6 times when he beat Frazier. He knocked Frazier clean off his feet.
Yeah,
you know.
He beat Ken Norton, who beat Ali in.
Who was the one of the trickiest heavyweights. One of the trickiest heavyweights to fight.
Yeah.
So he was no bum. Like Foreman was no bum at all.
No. He quality heavyweight.
A great heavyweight.
One of my favourite.
That's my choice.
That was the one.
Nuts choice. That's probably one of the greatest sporting moments. Probably number one.
That's the one I was torn between. So I think Ben might choose this one. So that's why I went the other one, because I thought you'd go for that. My favourite bit about it is like Ali's press conferences and quips and poetry and all of that. My favourite Ali quote comes from the build-up of that. And he's talking about how he's going to dance and how fast he is. I'm so fast, George is not going to see me. And he says in a press conference, he says, I'm faster than I ever was. Last night, turned off my light. I was in bed before the room was dark. Brilliant. Good choice, then.
Very good.
Well, yeah, I'm going to choose that because it was one of my choices.
Yeah, I'll choose that as well.
All right.
There you go. Easy peasy.
Great.
But is it as good as when Tommy Morrison fought Sylvester Stallone in the streets of Philadelphia? You know?
Right, round 3.
Okay. Super Bowl 51. The New England Patriots versus the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons should have won this game.
Yeah.
Should have won this game. They were 25 or 28 points ahead at halftime. And not just ahead, they dominated the game. The Patriots defense couldn't handle that Falcons offense at all. And then the second half, they came out and did everything that they didn't do in the first half. They didn't stick to their game plan. They didn't stick to what had worked. And then when the Patriots got a score back, they started to panic. But as the Patriots got closer, the reason why it's such a good sporting moment for me is not just the length of the comeback, but when it went to overtime, there was just no doubt. And I was so tired. Stayed up to watch it. I was so tired. And I knew I couldn't go to bed because I think
4 o'clock in the afternoon. When's it going to end?
It's kind of like that. I think I put on Facebook, like, for fuck's sake, Brady, I want to go to bed. But it was just in a team sport, it was like watching individual perfection for the last kind of 3 quarters, because particularly overtime, just straight down the field, bang, 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 game over. And it was, if 2005 is an improbable comeback, so that was equally as improbable.
That was crazy. But they had 3 points, didn't they? Half time.
Yeah, they were down 28-3, I think.
That's crazy.
31-3, something like that.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, it's
Fucking Brady, man. He can win games, can't he?
yeah, and that's
Good, wasn't he?
the Super Bowl just gone. That's why I kind of all the smart money was on Kansas City. Obviously, they're phenomenal. But I just thought in that game, you just can't bet against Tom Brady. There's nothing he hasn't seen in that game. He's been there 10 times.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy.
I was edging my seat pretty much for the whole that game. I kind of wanted the Patriots to win. And when they went that far down, I was like, okay, well, if they're not going to win, I'd like to see them get absolutely smashed. I'd like to see the Falcons run up a massive score. But when they started to come back, it was...
It's great being a neutral, isn't it, for those sort of...
Yeah, I usually hit a wall around about the start of the fourth quarter of a Super Bowl, and I just kind of either go, oh, well, this is over and go to bed, or I kind of grind it out. This one, I was wide awake.
Yeah.
Tired, wanted to go to bed, but just couldn't take my eyes off it.
Choice.
There you go.
One.
That's a good one. I've gone slightly different from my final choice, and it's a little bit more somber, but it is a defining moment in me watching sport and listening to sport, or whatever. I've put in here the Hillsborough disaster, just because it's just something I remember. Whatever you think of the team, whatever you think of the outcome now, and all of that stuff behind at the time, and I will never forget it. It was just unbelievable what was happening. So the reason I remember it so vividly is I was in the car with my dad. We were driving wherever we were going. Can't remember where we were going, but I just remember we were going somewhere long distance, and we were looking forward to listening to it on the radio. We were like, this would be a good game. And it wasn't starting. I can remember my dad getting really frustrated, going, "Oh, what's going on?" And they just kept. And it wasn't until later, because I don't think they really described it on the radio what was going on. They just said there's a delay and all of that. And then it's not until you get home and see the news and you're like, holy crap. It was just the sea of people, and you just, stuff on the field. And it's just one of those moments that I will never forget in sport.
Yeah.
So I'll pick that.
Football changed that day as well.
Yeah.
The fences, when the fences came down, and the attitude towards policing the crowd changed, and all of that kind of thing. Football changed that day.
Yeah, it's a defining moment, definitely.
Better, obviously, but yeah, it's
yeah. I don't know what you say about it. I was toyed about bringing it in, but it is just a defining moment. It's an iconic moment of the late 80s. Was it 1989? Wasn't it? Bloody hell. Yeah, but it's an iconic moment, and now the aftermath of the investigation, because there was this relentless pursuit of justice and what have you. It's just a defining moment.
I think what is the most powerful thing about it is that the way that Liverpool Football Club stuck alongside the search for the truth and the search for justice, and the support to the families and the victims of it, because it's particularly like Dalglish, who was so affected by it, who was so involved with the families. I don't know if I don't know if any other club would have done it in that way. Do you know? I think there's something about it being Liverpool. There's something about it being Liverpool that was so doubly tragic as well, because Heysel was so recent, and the immediate thing was to blame the fans.
And because economically
yeah.
what happened in that city throughout the 80s as well, it just kind of been
Rubbish.
decline was the
Crime.
phrase, wasn't it? And
There's a genuine response from Liverpool as well, the whole city, to be fair. But
Yeah.
Right,
the
for sure, yeah.
clubs, you think now, as horrible as it is, it'd be used as a fucking media exercise, wouldn't it, as a marketing thing. But back then, that was genuine.
But Liverpool, like that's kind of what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Like any other club would have. I don't know any other club, but I think Liverpool, they just handled themselves with such grace and class, and the City did,
And it was fitting the cup final that year. Liverpool won the replay. Everton got to the cup final. The fact it was a Merseyside Cup final, and it was a fucking great game as well. It was kind of a really fitting,
kind
of postscript to it. It's kind of what the people that died there and the people that were injured there. It's kind of what they would have wanted would be a Merseyside derby cup final, and for it to be a great game and for Liverpool to win. That was you couldn't write that script.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a moment that kind of transcends sport, I think, Dave, and it's like a bit of a watershed moment. Like you say, football changed that day.
There you go.
Good choice.
Well, I haven't got Somber. Try and pick the energy up. Cheers, Dave.
Sorry about that.
Follow that. Sticking with football, 1970, Brazil, Italy, Carlos Alberto's goal.
Yeah, good.
It's the ultimate team goal in possibly the best international team ever. Certainly the coolest fucking looking international team ever. But that goal in particular, I think the left back wins it. It's out to midfielder sort of goes through sort of 3 or 4. You hear the cheer of the crowd, like one touch passing. Pelé stands on the ball and just casually rolls it out to the right, and then Alberto runs onto it and just hits it perfectly. Bottom corner. It's just aesthetically, it's so pleasing. It's so pleasing to watch, and it's so beautifully executed. It's the perfect team goal. I think it's possibly the greatest goal ever scored.
There's a couple of things about the aesthetic of that I really like. Is firstly the colour. The colours just get
grainy as well, right?
Vibrant, and they're a bit grainy, but they seem really vibrant because it's Mexico City. It's baking hot. It's kind of played at walking pace, which is why Carlos Alberto come flying in, kind of really
jarring, right? It's so jarring to everything else that's going on.
Yeah, it's like they've all got kind of socks rolled down. It's all a bit languid, but possibly my favourite thing about it is the technique that he strikes the ball, right? The kind of body shape he has when he strikes the ball. The only thing I can liken it to is a drawing in Roy the Rovers.
Roy the Rovers, right?
He's kind of got his arms across his body and his legs.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
It's just a beautiful kind of image. I'm sure it's not, but it always gives you the impression that he's still in the air by the time the ball's in the net, kind of thing. That he hasn't come out of that pose yet.
Seriously good bit of football, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing, like you say, always stood out with me was those World Cups when you were first getting into football, and my first one was '86, but you saw the reruns of that. It looked different, like you say. It sounded different. There was a different sound coming out of the TV speakers when you were watching these international tournaments. It was.
But you say that, but Brazil looked modern. Like Brazil looked like a modern football team. Do you know what I mean? If you watch that if you watch that goal growing up in the 80s and 80s and 90s, that Brazil team, the way that they played, just the fluidity of the pass, it wasn't. It looked modern. It felt contemporary, right? And you realise this was.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing is with those those early World Cups that we remember, like you're right, Dave. The look and sound and the atmosphere, the vibe of them is all very different. But also, there's surprises. You don't get surprised by a World Cup anymore because you've seen these players week in, week out in the Champions League or in the Premier League, or you know who they are, or you've heard of them.
I don't know. You still get shocked. Iceland.
Occasionally, you get, but you don't watch a game of a team that you've hardly know of, and somebody stands out, and you've no idea who they are, and they
maybe Football Manager though, isn't it?
Yeah, well, Football Manager, all of that, social media, sport.
Media.
Yeah, it was only, I know where you're coming from. It was only, you think Italian football we only really got to see in the very early 90s.
Well, in 86, you knew who Maradona was, and you were excited to see
books is where you saw the players, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you knew who the best players in the world were, and you at a World Cup you couldn't wait to see them, but you knew who they were. Yeah. You knew about them. But that's the only chance you got to see them. You can see.
Put it this way: a 12-year-old kid who's into football now will be able to tell you the Real Madrid starting 11.
Yeah.
I couldn't have told you them. Well, I could have because I was living in Madrid at the time, but I couldn't tell you. I couldn't have told you that who was playing up front for PSG then.
No. It's and I think it kind of. I mean, maybe just a bit more old and cynical, probably. I'm sure 12-year-olds that are getting into football now get just as excited at the World Cup as we used to.
Yeah, of course they do.
But yeah, there was something very different about those World Cups. Broadcasting has changed as well, so that adds to it.
Yeah. I like that one. I like that. It's a good choice.
So who is it? Hillsborough
and Brazil.
Ben's going to get 3 in the final, isn't he?
I think he might. I'm thinking of going for the...
Yeah, 1970.
Yeah, I am as well.
Yeah.
So is that the first time someone's done that?
I think so.
Yeah. Oh. Join us next week on the Ben Franklin podcast, where I'm going to get what I fucking want. So, final 3 are, I should know this, mine.
You should know this, Ben.
I should know this. Mo Farah, Muhammad Ali, Carlos Alberto. I have to go Rumble in the Jungle. I have to go Muhammad Ali because he was probably certainly the most influential sportsman, I think, in my life. One that, is so much more to me. It means so much more to me than just sport.
I think that as well, because I think it's one of those, it's probably like knowing where you were when Kennedy was shot, that Ali thing, it's just massive. It's gone beyond the sport. It's gone beyond that moment, probably. It's so massive.
It's not only is it aesthetically beautiful, the end to that fight, it's a 1-2, he moves, he hits him again, and as he's on the way down,
he doesn't hit him because it would ruin the aesthetic.
Yeah,
doesn't need to do it. It's unnecessary.
Yeah, so that's beautiful. Yeah. Not only is it beautiful, but it was a surprise. It was a shock. So, honourable mentions.
66 World Cup, Gaza. What else did I have? Forgotten now. The Hello to Canio catching the ball.
Yeah.
I always like that. It was quite cool.
Yeah. I had Tyson biting Holyfield's ear. The reason I was going to put that is because I'd moved out of my mum's house by that point, and none of my friends, only one of my friends had Sky, and he refused to get it and let us stay around his house. So we'd been out one night and we waited for when we thought Mum would have gone to bed, crept in the house, ordered it on her Sky, and we're just going to sit there quietly watching it. Carried on drinking stupidly, and then my eyes were just getting heavier and heavier. I kept looking at my mate, and he seemed wide awake. So I just rest my eyes for 5 seconds. Be on in 10 minutes. To see all the build up, you could see him about to do the ring walk and all of that. I just rest my eyes for 5 minutes, and Diff will wake me up when it starts. And then I open my eyes what seemed like 30 seconds later, and Diff's on his hands and knees like that on the living room floor, and teletext is on the TV, and it's light outside. So what happened? He went, I don't know, I fell asleep. And then we could just see on teletext, Tyson disqualified. What happened? So we missed it. I had Michael Thomas's goal for Arsenal, final day of the season, 1989.
Oh, you should have stuck that in. Oh, man.
Yeah. They talk about Aguero scoring against QPR as the most dramatic finish to a season ever. Bullshit, that was.
Yeah, totally. Oh, yeah.
2 teams going for the title, playing each other on a Friday night. Last minute, last kick of the game. Yeah.
Shit celebration, though.
Yeah. Usain Bolt, Beijing.
Yeah.
The fact he won it by the distance he won it, with his shoe untied, slowing down with his arms out. Ridiculous. What on Benji?
I got Hagler Hearns, round 1.
Yeah.
No mass. Duran Leonard.
Yeah.
What else did I have? Walter Payton breaking the all-time rushing yards. Just Lawrence Taylor.
Just Lawrence Taylor.
Just Lawrence Taylor. You, again, the same thing. It's the same thing that you talk about, that people like that don't come around very often. Just he changed that position. Just phenomenal athlete. I was looking into this and I couldn't find it, but Bo Jackson running a 4:12 40-yard dash.
There's no footage of it.
Right. It's crazy. It's just crazy. Deion Sanders, Atlanta Falcons, Deion Sanders, though. Deion Sanders.
Devin Hester returning the opening kickoff of a Super Bowl.
Devin Hester would be a great one.
There's a documentary. Sorry, just go back to Bo Jackson. There's a documentary about Bo Jackson. He played 2 sports, and injury shortened his career. But both sports think that without injury, he would have been in the Hall of Fame of both sports. He'd have been the first person to be in the Hall of Fame of American football and baseball.
Yeah.
But on this clip, you see there's people who played football with him talking about what he was like and how ridiculously athletic and fast and strong and he was. And then obviously baseball players. They showed this footage of whenever he got struck out, which happened quite a lot. You kind of see him walking off with the bat on his head like that, and then in frustration just go, just snap the bat on his head, or snap it across his knee. Baseball bat. Just bang. And there's one of his teammates saying, I saw him doing it. Can't be that hard. He said he got struck out once, walked off, and out with the bat, he said, bruised my leg. I was out for 3 games. Just whacked himself in the leg with a baseball bat.
86 NBA Finals.
Yeah. Celtics Pistons.
I think it was the Pistons. Yeah. And the only reason I'm picking that is we were in Boston at the time, and just Larry Bird. Just like, wow, who's that? And I think when Stuart McGovern paid that guy to drive the car into the TV stand in the golf final, and then Happy Gilmore still makes the shot. I think that's for me, you know. Are we doing the difficult third album? Or are we doing what was the one I said to you the other day? Most used songs in films.
I've already done my third albums.
Yeah, I've got a couple good ones. Well, there we have it. Muhammad Ali, the greatest sporting moment of all time. Join us next episode where we will be doing an episode on the third difficult album. Thanks very much for watching.
Sorry, the third difficult album. The third album ever made.
I'm not fucking just going through this again.
No, do you mean top?
Join us next episode.
Albums? Not. We're going to talk about the third difficult album.
All right. Okay. Will you fucking describe it then?
Next week we'll be discussing top 3 third difficult albums.
So what this is, so we can clear it up. There is a cliche that the third album will make or break an artist.
When are we going to record?
So they call it the third difficult album. So
Difficult
our next
album.
episode will be based around that.
Right. So can I ask a question though?
Right.
Okay. I'm gonna pick
Well,
it.
they're like Cat Stevens or Peter Sutcliffe.
You
reckon
look,
you
you look
probably
less
like
like
that.
the Unibomber this week. You look like the Unibomber last week.
I did, didn't I?
Yeah. Don't know what you've done different.
Not been bombing this week. Right, I've got to go off.
He's got to go.